and evening for everyone. So, welcome to today's webinar regarding the algo trading using TradeWorks technology as a strategy builder. So, this webinar for a lot of people who ask me regarding the time difference or whatever that they will not be able to attend is going to be recorded, guys, and it will be available for everyone in our website soon. So my name is Nordin Majd. I'm the head of portfolio management at Traders Trust. And I will be joined today for this webinar by no other than TradeWorks CEO, Mr. Michael Breinholst, live with us from Denmark, from Copenhagen. So Michael, welcome.
Thank you very much. Pleasure to be here.
It's really a great pleasure to have you. Thank you for taking the time. I will directly now let you take control of this webinar, and if you can give us the honor to make a brief presentation also about yourself.
Yes, I will be happy to. Well, thanks
Great.
everyone for joining this webinar. My name is Michael Breinholst, as Nordin said, and I'm the CEO of TradeWorks. I'm also the founder of TradeWorks. TradeWorks is 5 years old, so I have been doing nothing but TradeWorks for 5 years now. So that's a big project of mine, you could say. I come from one of the other big brokers. I was a global product manager at Saxo Bank for several years before founding TradeWorks. Before that, I have worked on different technology projects. Started a phone company in New York, of all places. Started trading stocks in 1998 and have been more or less in the stock market all the time since. I started trading currencies and indices, and I've done that for roughly, well, 5 years, give or take now, together with TradeWorks project. I've been asked to do a presentation of TradeWorks and give you guys some insight into how you can get started with algo trading. And I know that some of you on the call already have experience with algo trading, perhaps even with programming of algorithms. And what I'm going to do today is I'm going to take it, you can say, from ground up, so everybody can follow. But I'll also be giving some insights into how you can take TradeWorks to the next level as well. I know we'll be doing follow-up webinars with more advanced features and talks, so more on that at a later stage. Now, there's a chat window in front of you, and you're more than welcome to interrupt anytime with questions. If I say something that you would like me to elaborate on, if you have other questions, feel free to write them in the chat. If I don't see them, then I'm certain that Nordin will pick them up. And
Yep.
yeah, interrupt me at any time. And also, if you have problems with the technology, with the sound or anything, write it in the chat. It's the best way to do it. So let me jump into the presentation that I have for you. I'm going to run through some slides just to give you an introduction of TradeWorks, and then after that, I'll jump into the TradeWorks application and give you a tour in there as well. So let me jump into the presentation. The first thing I have to say is that I will be sharing with you different ideas about algorithms, of what you can do and cannot do. Obviously, I would say, and you're used to this, I imagine, that it is for information purposes only. I'm not going to spend 30 minutes explaining to you the holy grail of trading and telling you how everything is going to be perfect tomorrow. But what I will do is I'll show you how to operate TradeWorks and give you some reasoning why I believe that automated trading is really a way forward for many traders to increase their performance. So as all this really says is that everything I'm showing you is for information purposes only. At the end of the day, you will be trading with your own money, not with my money, so please take care of them and trade responsibly. Having said that, let me give you a quick introduction to TradeWorks, and after that we'll jump into the application and I'll show you around and help you get started with that. First and foremost, the whole idea behind TradeWorks was that I found it quite overwhelming to be able to process all the information that goes on in the financial markets. When trading stocks, at least I felt I was in need because I could sit down and read the financial statement for the company, and I could do it 5 years back if I had the time. Now I didn't have time because I had a full-time job, but I tried to keep up, but it was too much to overcome really to do it really well. In the forex market, there is really no financial statement for the euro, so that just creates it even more overwhelming in regards to the amount of information in the market. And being able to process that fast enough simply wasn't possible for me. Also, at the end of the day, I was left with a buy and a sell button. So at the last minute, even though I was able to process enough information to make a decision, I still had to actually be there in front of the computer at the time of the trade when it was an optimal time to do it. And again, I had a full-time job, so that actually rarely happened. Human factors and emotions also becomes a big thing, and I can tell that from myself, but also from the many traders we've talked to over the years, that it is very easy to trade too much when you shouldn't, and trade too little when you shouldn't. Meaning that if the really good trade setup is there, you have actually processed information, you are actually ready to trade. And many traders, because of human emotions, can get in doubt whether or not that they should actually trade the right trade size and trade enough. And finally, around the clock trading, that's a given, especially in the forex market. We open 24 hours a day. If your perfect trade setup happens in the middle of the night, and you will not have made that trade. So I guess what this is really all about is, instead of trying to chase good trades in the 1 hour or maybe 5 hours you're trading a day, what automated trade allow you to do is look for the good trade setups, but look 24 hours a day instead. So all in all, that was inspiration we had for building TradeWorks. And really, what we wanted to do is we wanted to build this so everyone could access it, so everyone could use TradeWorks. And really, in our perspective, the days where algorithmic trading was for professionals only, they're just completely gone. Because now everyone, even people without programming skills, can access the automated trading space and build their own algorithms. And TradeWorks is one of the best ways to do that. We've, as I said, it's the company's 5 years old this coming January, and today we have offices in Copenhagen. It's our headquarters, and then in Singapore and Cyprus as well, representing most of our selling and the commercial activities. We are specifically catering, and TradeWorks is built to essentially for the traders such as yourself. Individual traders of FX and CFDs is our core target audience, and really what this is about is providing you with powerful tools so that you can close the gap on the institutional guys that have, you could say, they have way too many developers and programmers hired, and can afford really expensive trading technology that essentially individual trader can. So TradeWorks as such is really a full service offering. You've downloaded an EA from the internet at one point in time. You've looked at the code. Perhaps you also use a system to analyze your performance. There's plenty of free software out there that can do that. But what you can't get anywhere else is really a full service platform. So with TradeWorks, you can go all the way from designing the actual strategy to testing it and to trading it. And once you've traded it, you can actually analyze that particular algorithm. So it's not we're not analyzing your entire portfolio. We're analyzing what each individual component of your portfolio is doing. And that way we can actually help you understand how to improve the algorithm and thereby adjust the design. And then you could say, do it again, you can test it, you can trade it again. So all in all, it's a full service offering where you don't even have to worry about what's known as a VPS, which is a virtual private server, which is a way essentially to host your algorithms in the cloud where you don't have to have your own computer turned on at all times. All that is built into TradeWorks, so it becomes completely seamless, your trading activities. Now, I'm not going to teach you how to trade, but what I can do is I can give you some steps in regards to how to approach building your first algorithm. Those of you that's already done this may have gone through these steps before, and it may seem natural, but I'm just going to run through them quickly anyway. Look at the market data. A lot of people actually forget this. It's more or less the most important step of all. Look at the market. What is it you're trying to trade? Make observations about the market and identify what is the type of market you're looking at and how can you best trade that particular market. Is it trending? Is it standing still? Is it highly volatile? What can you say about the market and how can you identify you could say either the patterns or what is it about the market you want to trade? It's very easy to say you want to buy at the bottom and sell at the top, but in practicality, then the markets don't tend to flow absolutely perfectly at all times. So that's a really important step. Then once you've looked at the market, you define rules exactly how to trade the observations. When do you want to enter? When do you want to exit? And what kind of risk do you want to throw at this particular trade? And with TradeWorks, it's very easy because once you've set up all the rules, you can test them. You can back test them, you can forward test them, and then you can add filters. And what I mean by adding filters is you can look at the data and say, listen, I think I'm trading either too much or too little. And perhaps I want to add a filter that removes some of my bad trades or some of the high risk trades. And you can do that by adding an indicator and saying, well, all of this that I thought should happen should maybe only happen if I'm above a moving average or other reasonings. Finally, trade the setup, continue to review. We support both trading on demo accounts and on real money accounts. And since you have demo account trading built in, I suggest you just go ahead and start turning on a lot of algorithms on these demo accounts and see how they perform. Get familiar with them. And once you're happy with the performance, move it over and trade it on a real money account. I mentioned that there are options to make things more advanced with TradeWorks. This is not the main topic of this webinar, but I still wanted to just highlight some of the places where you can really take TradeWorks to the next level. And that being that you're not limited to only building strategies using indicators. You can also use price action. And some of the more interesting strategies that I've seen are actually hybrids of the two that combine the different components. And speaking of combining, then one of the places that you can really make things advanced is by combining different logical expressions so that it's not just one event you're looking for a whole series of events. And they have to perhaps even happen in the right order. You can monitor multiple markets at the same time. I have an example of that. I'll show you, but you can literally trade oil and trade gold if that's what you want to do. Finally, you can customize not only your entry, but you can also customize your exit. So you can create fairly advanced rules, really, both to get into the market and out of the market. And underlying all of these logics for getting in and out, you can manage ways to do. Also be demoing shortly. So that gives you an idea of the complexity with TradeWorks. So what I'll be showing you now is you can say the basic building blocks, but then keep this in mind that you can combine these building blocks into very advanced strategies as well. So now it is time that I give you guys a demo. And if you can hold on a second, I'm just gonna go to log in here.
So basically, this is going to be the step as well for you guys to log in into the TradeWorks strategy builder from Traders Trust secure area. You will go to your secure area. You will have strategy builder tab. You will click on sign up. You will have your login details, and this is where it's going to take you. So just one thing that I wanted to add as well before we start into this presentation, the thing that I really like about this tool in general, it's very important, is also the people who built it. So as Michael said, you have a great experience. So really what we felt is that it's a a tool that is made by traders and for traders. So it's as we will see now in the presentation, it doesn't leave anything on the side. It includes a lot of very specific tools as well.
Yeah, thank you. That's correct. As you can see, I'm now logged in, and I cheated a little bit because I added a couple of strategies here. But let me just walk you through things so you have an overview. On the top left of the menu of your screen, you have, and now let's go full screen here. You have template strategies, and template strategies are essentially the different strategies or research strategies that we've put together to showcase different components of TradeWorks platform. So some of these strategies will be trading a lot, some a little, some will be very, very simple, some will be very, very complex. And we try to showcase the different sides of everything really, but you can say they are in fact real trading strategies, and we are running them, and I'll show you that in a minute as well. We are running them 24/7 really, so they keep running, and you can get complete data to see how they're doing. Next to templates, we have My Strategies. This is essentially your storage area for all your different strategies. It could be the ones that are turned on, the ones that are still being worked on. You have your strategy sharing. This is if someone shares a strategy with you, then you have a menu for that to collect those there. You have a support menu that'll give you links into different areas. If you're looking for help, then there's a help center in here. We have some video tutorials which are due to be updated shortly. You can request a feature if you find something that you believe is missing and would be great for you. You can request it here. And there's a little introduction guide that pops up the first time you log in, and it'll give you a little tour of TradeWorks and show you some of the things that I'll be going through with you today. So I'm not going to spend time going through that. So on the top left, you'll find all your trading related menus. On the top right, you find your more account related menus under My Account. At the bottom right of your screen, it says Help, and this is a widget that will allow you to search directly into our help center. For instance, you could write backtest here and do a search for that, and then you could really come up and see, well, these are some of the articles that I'm interested in. And if you can't find what you're looking for, you can click the live chat button, and then there'll be someone there to assist you with your question. At the bottom left, you have a little language widget. It's default to the same language as your browser. So if you are German speaking, then it'll default to German, and then you can change it as you please afterwards. Mine is defaulting to English because I speak English. So that is the overall navigation. Let me walk you through the different components and show you how they work. Let's begin with the template strategies. This is one of two ways that you can get started with TradeWorks. Either you can pick one of these templates and work from there, or you can click the red button at the top right, Create Strategy, and it'll give you a clean canvas and you can work from there. So starting with the template strategies, as I said, we're running all of these real time, and I would say that more or less half of them we've had running for almost a year now. So we're beginning to see quite some history on them. Right now we're showing the 5, 30, and 90 days, and this number here is measured in pips, so that you don't have to worry about the trade size we use, but you can actually apply your own trade size. If you want to sort, then you can actually click the top menu here, and then you get a list of the most profitable template strategies over the last 30 days. And the same goes for 90 days. You can click on the top there as well. Once you click on anywhere here on the line, then the right section of your screen updates. As you can see now, it says Simple Close and Reverse, which is the name of the one I just clicked on at the top left. And what you'll see is a brief statistics, a look into how this particular algorithm is performing. You have you could say a realized P&L number measured in pips, a maximum drawdown measured in pips, and number of trades. In this case, it's traded 152 individual positions over the last 5 days. So it's a quite active strategy. Also, you have some statistics into how many winnings it's doing, both longs and shorts, and average almost profitable 8 out of 10 trades. So it's quite impressive. It's had a really good 5-day run, and it's done 12 trades in a row when it did the biggest loss on this particular strategy. So that gives you a bit of an insight. Now, you can go through the list. You can find whichever strategy that you prefer. And if you want to have a copy of it, all you need to do is click the blue Get button. So I can click the blue Get button. We'll wait a second. At the top left, you'll see a green little dot here next to My Strategies. It means that there's something new in here. And we can go into My Strategies, and you now have a copy of that particular template strategy that you just saw. So that's one of the ways you can get started. Another way is to create a new strategy. And that's what I'm going to do now. And I'll give you an idea of how you can do that. So I click the red button, and I'm now inside the strategy editor window. And the strategy editor window comprises of 2 different sections. The top section here, which is the control area, and the bottom section, as you can say, separated by these 3 big buttons. And all of this is really the content of your algorithm. These are the building blocks of your algorithm. And the reason that there are already 2 here is that these 2 are mandatory for an algorithm to work. It may seem obvious, but trade size is a given. We have to know the trade size, otherwise there's not a lot of algo to process. And also we need to know when there's multiple signals. We always need to know that, because if you were only to trade one time, we wouldn't know what to do if the second. So we always have to know what to do with the second signal. Now let me just walk you through the screen. You can duplicate it. It's if you say this, I'm onto something here, but I'm going to make kind of a branch out in my development duplicate and keep a copy of this particular algorithm for later. Then click that button. You can enable it when you're ready to trade. We'll get to that point in a few minutes. You can backtest, and you can set what you want to trade on, and you can add a trading account. So you can direct, you can say, this particular algorithm to trade on either your demo account or your live account. At the right side, you have a share button, and this is where if you have a friend that you want to collaborate on a particular algo with, then you can click on the copy over to the recipient. So, and finally delete, of course, if you want to completely get rid of this. Let me build an algorithm for you. I'll show you how easy it can be done. Now, I have looked at the market, and I found that on a short-term basis, on a short time frame basis, then there's a high correlation between the American dollar and the Canadian dollar. It's a fairly well-known setup, and I'm just going to see if I can find a simple way I can trade the correlation between the two. So really an idea about a mean reversion strategy where on a short-term basis the prices for the Canadian and the American dollar are going to be very similar and going to follow each other a lot. So what I'll do is I'll take a relative strength indicator, the relative strength index RSI, and apply that. So I click the indicator button, and I can now see a list of all the indicators TradeWorks. There are about 35 standard indicators, and give or take the same number of custom indicators that are readily available. Now I wanted the relative strength index, so I'll pick that, and I'm going to run it on what I call here the strategy symbol, meaning that I'm not going to tell the indicator specifically what it's going to run on. It will always run on the same thing as the strategy is trading on, and that way I can decide not to trade the American dollar against the Canadian, or maybe I'll trade the American dollar against the Aussie dollar. And if I make that change, I don't have to go into each indicator to make the change there as well. It happens automatically. So on the time frame, I said that my observations were that on a short time frame, for instance the 5 minute, that they're highly correlated. And I'm just going to use you could say a classic RSI running on 10 period applied to close prices. And all of these settings are completely identical to what you'll find inside MT4. So there's nothing new for you here to learn. It's just about setting it. Once I'm happy, I'll click Save and Return. And as you can see now, there's a card came up here, a building block for my algorithm that shows up. I can add as many indicators as I like. I mean, you can add 100 if you're if you feel like it. What I need to do now is I need to instruct my strategy when to actually trade, because I use the RSI, but when do I want to use it? Well, that's what I have the entry rules for. And I'm just going to call this buy when RSI is
Hello, Michael. Are you still here? Hello, Michael. I don't seem to hear you. I don't know if people can
let me
still
know
hear
if
you,
you
but
can hear me.
yeah, perfect. I hear you. Hello, hello.
Yep, I can hear you.
All right, great.
And I'm assuming my screen is still running, so let's just continue.
Yeah, it's all good now.
As I
Yeah,
was saying,
thank you.
that's good. I want to buy when the RSI is below 25. So what I'll do is I'll pick the RSI from the indicator, and I will choose that it has to be less than 25, and then I need to find the 25, and from my options here, I can either add now an indicator, an open, high, low, close value, which is a bar value, the symbol, or an amount. I'm going to pick amount and say 25. Now what this does is that every time the RSI is below 25, I'm going to open up a trade. Now what I'll do is I'm going to go into the advanced settings and say I want a trade. So I actually want to build up a position. So every 5 minutes I'll add another trade. So I'll add what we call signal throttling. So it's going to say put a pause on this signal for 5 minutes, and then it's going to wake up again ready to make another trade. I'll save that, and now I have my buy signal. I'm going to do exactly the same from my sell signal. I'll take the indicator and I'll say it has to be greater than, and in this case I'll do 75. I'll also put throttling on this particular signal. And put a little name to it so I can remember. This is a good thing if you have a lot of different signals, that you actually give it a name you can remember. You don't have to, but it's just a word of advice. So now I've instructed my strategy to use the RSI, and I've said when I want to buy and when I want to sell. Before we can get started, we need to look at the money management side of things. We need to look at the risk that is involved with this strategy. So I said I would be building up a position. And every time I trade, I want to trade, let's say, 0.1 lot. And that's both long and short. So I trade 0.1 lot, and that means the second time it trades, I'll have 0.2 lot exposure, 0.3 lot, 0.4 lot. It'll keep going and building up the position, and hopefully that will end up being profitable. Now, as I said, because we're using several signals, then we need to make sure that the multiple entry signal rule is assigned properly. And this this one is divided into two sections when you get additional same direction signals, meaning I already bought and now I get another buy signal. And in this case, I want to open an additional position. And if the opposite happens, I've already opened up maybe 5 long positions and I get a short signal. What do I want to do? Do I want to use the short signal to exit my current long position? Or do I want to reverse right away? So close all the long positions and reverse to a short position. And finally, hedge if I want to have both the open and you could say the long and the short positions open at the same time. Now, in this case, I'm aggressive, so I'm going to close and right away open a short position. Now, as you can imagine, it means that I'm going to be in the market a lot. But that's okay, because I'm building an aggressive strategy. I am, though, going to define a profit target. And the way I do that is by clicking the money management button here, and then it opens up my different options. And in here, I can see that I have different exit settings. So this goes for each individual position. I can define a custom exit. I can define the stop losses that you're already familiar with, I'm certain of. Position stop loss, position take profit, a trailing stop, even a time to close. If for instance, if I haven't found my take profit level within 20 minutes, I'm out. That could be a way to use that rule. Finally, in the money management, you have your strategy side of things, so not assigned to each individual position, but more to the entire algorithm. And here you have 3 different ways to manage your exposure. You can do it either with open trades, so the number of open trades. You can do it with open lots, or you can do it with the how much margin you're using out of your total equity. Let me add 2 rules. One is a position take profit, meaning I want to have a profit target, so I click on it and create that. And my profit target is 30 pips. So I'm very short term, and in this case, I also want this take profit to actually be set at the broker side, meaning that TradeWorks will actually, once we turn on this particular strategy, will actually send the 30 pip instruction when we open the, you can say, when the strategy opens a position, it will also set the take profit level. And that way you could say you get the quickest execution of your take profit because it's done directly on the MT4 server. So I will choose that. And finally, as this strategy is building up a lot of trades, what I want to do is I want to put a cap on it so it doesn't completely overtrade. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use, for instance, the number of open trades. And this one I'm going to set to 20. So that means I can now maximum open 20 trades of 1 lot for each trade. So in total 2 lots. And you can do your own math when you're setting this up for yourself. Set it up for whatever you feel comfortable with, the trade size you feel comfortable with, the number of trades you're comfortable with. But I'm comfortable with this now, at least for the demonstration. And so what's next to do is assign that I want to trade on the US dollar against the Canadian dollar. So I have to change this one up here. It's defaulting to euro dollar. And if I am not mistaken, I can find dollar Canadian here on the list. So this means that I now have a full strategy and I'm ready to test it. So I'm just going to run a back test. And let's see, we'll do a couple of weeks. You can set the beginning equity. The beginning equity really doesn't matter when it comes to the back tester doesn't take stop outs into account. So you can actually you can create a very high annualized return and say you only put this to 100 Canadian, but realistically you're not going to trade this amount of trades and trade sizes with 100 Canadian. So you have to adjust that and don't fool yourself, so to speak. I'm not quite sure exactly what the spread is right now on dollar Canadian, but I'm just going to set it to 2 to keep things going. And I can now click run backtest, and we should be up and running. And just shortly it's going to be done. In the meantime, what I can do is I can actually add my trading account because I want to be trading this if it's profitable. So what I do is I go to my account and trading accounts. And here you can see the ability to instruct TradeWorks where you want to trade. And in this case, I want to trade this on a demo account. And it just so happens that I have one waiting right here. So I add the username and password, and I selected the server. There was a demo server. I agree with the terms and conditions, and I save the trading account. So what happens is there are two things. You saw that the backtest completed, and also that the trading account was verified. And what that means is that we've now TradeWorks server spoke to the MT4 server and confirmed that we're now ready to trade on this particular account. We also know the backtest is done, so we're going to go back into the backtest, find the strategy that we were building, and we can now see the backtest. And this looks really, really good. What you have now is at the top left, you have some headline statistics showing you overall profitability. Total return on equities, 27% for 2 weeks. That's pretty impressive. But again, it really depends on your beginning equity and your trade size. The drawdown is 5%, which is seen as pretty high, but given the overall profitability, it's not too bad. You have an equity chart here that shows you the balance. Oh, sorry, not a balance chart really. It shows you every time that there's a trade that closes where what your account value looks like. You can also click on drawdown and drawdown chart, and here you can see where really where the risk is. Substantial losses here on the 7th of November. You can actually go back into the balance and you can find the same spot that happens. On the right side, you have more in-depth statistics about this particular test. It traded 365 times, so very frequently. And also you can see, and these are the kind of the three numbers that I look for. I always look for the percentage of profitable trades. In this case, it's 7 out of 10, but that can't stand alone. We also have to look at the average winning when you're winning and the average losing when you're losing. And in this case, it's actually very favorable because I'm winning more when I am winning than I am when I'm losing. But I guess you can see that from the chart that this is going in the right direction. The last thing I want to look at is, and this is really important when I do longer tests, for instance, maybe a 3 months or 6 months test, I'd like to see my maximum winning and maximum losing. Because what if there's you could say, let's call it a black swan event. It's an event that I didn't anticipate when building this particular strategy. Loss, that if there's one trade somewhere that ran up a really, really big loss, then you probably want to curtail that and make sure that that doesn't happen again. But in this case, it's quite fair. I would advise to try to get the biggest winner to be bigger than the biggest loser. But overall, this performance is really, really nice. And you could say if I believe the dollar Canadian market is, you could say, is going to do the same the next 2 weeks as it has the last 2 weeks, then you take this strategy, turn it on, and start trading it. Really, that's how simple it can be. We have a couple of other things in the back tester. We have a chart that actually shows you where each trade, because it's running on a lot of trades. And here you can see the red lines are the losing trades and the green lines are the winning trades. So as you can see here, the strategy begins to short already over here. It keeps a short position. You're way into losses now, and then it starts to trade again. And it trades a lot just around this top here, goes short, and it after just going and the wrong way again, it actually makes a big drop, and you end up taking a fairly substantial profit here at the end, even though you have a few old positions that ran up a little loss. So this is a really nice way to analyze how your trades are actually doing when it's actually trading and get more familiar with the activity. If you're more into that, you also have a trade history, and you can literally copy everything here, paste it into a spreadsheet, and do your own statistics on it if you feel like it. So that's the back tester. Now, the last thing really to do is we love this strategy, we're going to turn it on, and the way we're going to do that is we're going to say we need to tell this particular strategy where to trade. This is of course important if you have more than one trading account connected. And in this case, we have the demo account I just created connected, and the only thing we need to do now is really just to click the enable button. And then what's happening now is that the algorithm we designed is being compiled, and we're establishing a connection to the MT4 server, and now we're trading. So literally it's just about sitting down waiting, and we're going to see trades come in on this particular strategy. The way we can see it is that it now turns green here on my strategies. We can see it's enabled, and we have 3 sub menus up here called open trades and historical trades. And in here, this is where you'll find your open trades when it begins to trade. It's going to be the same data you can find in your MT4 software on your computer or on your mobile phone. It'll be the exact same data because it's the same trading account showing the trade. The only difference is that in here you can actually see which strategy generated which trade, so you can keep track of it. Also, when you begin to see trades come in on this particular strategy, then the right side of the page is also going to begin to calculate actual trading performance, and not just a back test, but in this case it's a forward test because I'm testing it on a demo account. So that was what I planned to walk you through inside of the TradeWorks app. It is
Yeah, this is really amazing. I mean,
for everyone to see.
Yeah, there is also just one
but
thing
there's
that I
of
wanted
course
to.
many ways you can make this much more advanced.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, go ahead.
There is just one thing that I wanted to add, Michael. We have to compare that to the original programming of EA. I mean, you've just managed now to create an automated strategy, to build a strategy in a matter of minutes. Most importantly, you made a backtest that took about 1 minute also. And the level of information and the details of information is really just amazing. The fact that you can also have the graph, the historical data, this is really good. But most importantly for all the traders, and this is also what I experienced when I am testing it, you may not have the perfect strategy from the beginning. So the amazing thing that you can do is whenever you make a modification, the fact that it can be in effect live, this is also something that it's worth mentioning, because in order to modify an EA, you have to go back to the coding and see what you want to modify. In here, you just have to modify the indicator or the building block that you want to change, or the money management that you have decided to set, and it's in effect in a matter of seconds, right?
Yep, let me show you. We have this
Yes,
particular algorithm we just built. Let's go and give it a name. We'll just call it demo algo. And let's say that we found out that we could make more money if we allowed the profitability to run a bit further. We looked at the chart, and we're going to change the take profit level. So we're going to change it to 50 pips. So literally, I can write 50 and click save and return, and in a couple of seconds, there you go, the algo has been updated. So literally, real time, the algo is running. I can actually adjust it if I need to. I would only say one thing about that feature, and that is that be careful about using it. And I'm not saying that because it's going to break. I'm saying it because if you change it every other minute, then it would be the same as manual trading. And if you really want to take advantage of automated trading, then you should allow the algorithm you've built, you should allow it to perform. Otherwise, you never know what you're going to get if you keep changing it. An alternative, what I would suggest you do is duplicate it. Duplicate it, keep this one running, go back. You can see there's a clone in here, and take the clone, make the modifications on the clone, and turn that on as well. Run both of them. There's no reason to. You can have 10 algos running at the same time with your TradeWorks profile. So run as many of them as you like at the same time, really. So yeah. Any other questions to the application?
Guys, if you have any question, feel free to write your question in the chat. Otherwise, as well, each of you will receive an email, and you will have a chance to write all your questions as well and send them back to us, and we'll answer them personally.
Yep. Yep. So let me wrap up. What I was just talking about now is I suggest consider using a portfolio of strategies because it's a really great way to diversify your risk. The search for one strategy is very tough. I would even go as far to say that it doesn't exist, and if it does, it's probably not for long. So I would say having a good structure around your trading is likely going to take you a lot better, or give you a lot better performance than searching for one particular strategy that will be profitable forever. Run more at the same time. Perhaps run 5 or 6, maybe 7 on demo account, and run 2, 3, 4 algos on your real money account. And if one of the algos in the real money account is beginning to show weaknesses because perhaps there's a change in the market conditions, substitute it with one of the algos that are performing well, and generate essentially a more smooth equity curve because you're diversifying your risk. And again, you could say it's up to you to change it whenever you want to change it, how frequently you want to change it. Generally, I would recommend that you let the algo perform, because there's nothing worse than having a great algo, turning it on, and it just so happens that that next day something in the market happened that the algo wasn't prepared for. Then you lose a bit of money and you turn it off immediately. The problem is that very likely the next week after that it could have been very profitable, but you don't see it. So run your algos in demo, see them how they perform, move them into to live once you're satisfied, and be ready to go with them and let them perform. That's definitely a good advice. A quick couple of links just to tell you that we have your back if you have any questions. Really, we've got some video guides. It'll give you some of the shorter versions of this video. Also, you can watch this video afterwards if you feel like it when it becomes available. There's a little guide on our website. Of course, you can go to Traders Trust's website, log in, and read more there as well. We have a little YouTube channel with videos in there. We have a feedback form where you can request a new feature. If there's something you feel is missing, you can request it there. And finally, we have customer support either via email. You're welcome to write directly to TradeWorks. You can write to Traders Trust. They'll direct your question to us if they can't answer specifically. And finally, you saw the chat icon in the application. Feel free to click on it if you have a question or search our knowledge base as well. That was really what I had to say. So thank you very much,
Michael,
for your time.
Thank you very much for the presentation and for being here as well. I know you also have a busy schedule. Guys, thank you for all the participants for attending today. As I said, the webinar is going to be available soon, most probably this week, directly in our website for everybody who missed it or everybody who would like to see it again. And we'll definitely organize more webinar soon again. So I would like to thank everybody who came here today, and thank you again, Michael, and speak to you soon.
Yes, thank you everybody. Thanks for attending. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye. Bye, everybody.